What's up, guys? Nethervvoid here with more Elite Dangerous Space Truckers Episode 8. Back to another one of these series that you guys love. Seems like pretty much one of my top series, besides maybe Trigger Happy, and that's only because I have so many World of Tanks subscribers. But anyway, we're getting back to it here. I need to pick up some waste, I'm pretty sure, yep. And we're going to get on the way, get out of here and get back to making some cash.
Cargo
We figured out last episode...
capacity.
Then I need about 130,000 credits to get my ship. So we need to get that, and we only have 71,000 right now. I think we're making about 10 to 20,000 per episode, so we're on our way, just not... I mean, it's still going to take a while, but... So anyway, the topic of discussion today, which I seem to have... Oh no, there it is why women want to do what men are doing, but not the other way around. So that actually covers a lot of different things. We're going to talk about that. It's slightly controversial, which I don't mind tackling controversial things. I really don't want to get into political things, really, but I'll do controversial. I don't mind doing that. But basically what I mean is, here's a very simple kind of a well, I'm going to fly, what is that? Straight at the planet? That's not going to work.
Frame shift drive
Let's go into some super cruise and get around this planet. Okay, here's one. Why? So back in the let's say, if you lived in the United States anyway, I think it was this way pretty much all around the first world, the world and first world countries was. If you live, women pretty much wore dresses, and this is from the 1300s on, maybe before that, I'm not really sure. Women wore dresses. Men wear pants or slacks, whichever one you want to, oh, no, I gotta go away. There we go. Still in the gravity well of this planet. So, women wore dresses, men wore slacks or pants or whatever you want to say. Basically, dresses that were hemmed up in the center, in a sense, right? But, ever since, I would say, the 50s and 60s, women have wanted to wear pants. I mean, partially because, pants... more comfortable. Not, you don't, when it's windy, you don't have to worry about your dress blowing up and stuff like that. You can do more things like yard work or things like that in pants, I guess. There's just a lot. They're generally more convenient, right? Well, I guess you could argue with that a little bit, because when it's hot, they're not more convenient. I would definitely want to rather be in a dress. It's much cooler than being in pants. So there are some benefits to wearing a dress. But the real question is why? Why do women want to wear pants, but men don't want to wear dresses? Right? Women are okay with looking like a guy, in a sense. Not completely. I mean, like if you look at women's, a lot of women's upper garments have shoulder pads, right? To get their shoulders to look more broad. But men don't have that. And there are a lot of men who don't have broad shoulders. So, but it's definitely a feature that women have on a lot of their clothing anyway. I don't like shoulder pads on women's clothing. I think it looks weird. But some women like that. But why is that? Why are women trying to look more like men? I mean, there's an obvious answer, but I'm trying to maybe have you guys think about it too. Not just because it's always, it's something that women just want to do. It's normal. Yeah, but then how come men don't want to wear dresses? I always look at when I see things and I don't see the opposite happening. I think, well, why not? Why is that? Does that not happen? And it's always I try to approach it from a scientific standpoint or a logical standpoint, not just, it's one way to test the boundaries of what you've learned about your, in society, right? What your parents taught you. Because I really think you should gut check everything anybody ever teaches you. Shouldn't just, you should think about it for yourself and see if you agree with it or not. That's called critical thinking. And I am a huge believer in critical thinking. So yeah. So not only pants, what are the other things that women want to do? Women would rather work instead of, and these are all generalizations. These are not one size fits all. There are some women who never want to wear pants, and there are some women who never want to work and they just want to stay at home and watch do kids and housework and stuff. I'm sure that happens. There are guys that want to do that too, okay? Again, this is the general things, not the exceptions. There are going to always be exceptions to the rule. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about in general, why do these things happen? It just seems, and this is what we're trying to figure out. So, again, like women working in the workplace, not not staying at home, doing the dishes and doing the cleaning and watching the kids. They want to get out and into the workforce. Why? But men don't seem to be wanting to leave the workforce in droves to go home and watch the kids and do the laundry, right? That one can kind of be explained a little bit just because working, even though it could be, usually is more stressful, let's say, not in all cases again, but I would say in general, is pretty much more stressful than doing the dishes or, folding laundry. It's not a stressful thing. It's kind of a menial task, I would say, most of the time. It does not take a lot of brain power, I would say. Again, there are always exceptions to the rule, but for the most part, work is probably something you're going to be doing that interacts with your brain a little bit more than, say, washing the dishes, right? So in that sense, I totally get it, especially when you're working on like a complex project at work. Like I have lots of complicated projects that I'm solving problems all day, and it's kind of cool to solve problems like that. It feels good to make the company money and things like that, to be an integral part of the team and all those things. So it's very self-fulfilling in that regard, whereas doing the dishes is really not very it's not very gratifying. It has to be done. Sure, is it a very beneficial thing that everybody needs? Yes. You have to wash your dishes unless you buy new dishes every time. You have to do it. You have to clean the bathrooms. The living room has to be cleaned. The car has to get washed. These things have to be done, right? But they're still kind of boring. So that makes sense, right? So that kind of makes sense. The whole pants thing, not as much to me, just because, I don't know, like, I like when women wear dresses, and the reason I like it is because I like the differences between men and women. Some people don't like that. I do. That doesn't necessarily equate. I still want whoever I'm with to work, mainly because in this society you almost have to have two incomes now to do anything. If you have one income, you kind of get regulated to staying at the house and watching shows or something. You really can't go travel and buy cool toys and stuff like that if you don't have two incomes. Like I said, this is generalization. Yes, it can happen. Is it very typical to have one income that can do all that? No, it's very rare in my experience. So yeah, whoever I'm with, I still want them to work, mainly because I want toys and I want. I want to go on vacations. I want to go to Disneyland. I want to do all those things. And it's really hard to do those things with the one income. And this is not working. Why is it? There we go. Okay. Had to go out the wrong way because those guys were blocking me. Let's hit boost. Let's get out of here. So that kind of makes sense to me, mainly because what happened, and really what happened was, during World War II, again, this is all from the United States perspective because I don't know really what the European perspective is on this. You guys can probably help me out in the comment section. But in World War II, men went to war, okay? All of us, pretty much. Well, not us. Us being the men. Because they needed a lot of men. It was like, as many as you can give me. That's how many I need. But at the same time, we needed more tanks and machinery than we've ever needed built for any war, right? World War II was the most mechanical, intense war ever, pretty much. As far as materials needed and lost and needing replacement and all those things, it was definitely the most industrial and mechanical war ever, up to that point. To keep all that running, you need somebody to keep building new tanks. If all the guys are at war, well, who's going to do it? Well, it's going to have to be the women because nobody else can do it. We're not using kids, okay? Women, we need you at work. We need you to work in factories. Women were like, well, okay, I guess I can help. Let's go do it. They went in, they worked during World War II. World War II was over, the guys came home. The women went back to being housemakers, and the guys went back to their jobs, right? But the women thought, wow, that was a lot of fun. I actually really liked building tanks, and I really felt a sense of accomplishment. I would like to do that more. And I kind of understand that. That to me does not feel sexist at all. It just feels like, hey, this is really exciting. Working is actually really exciting, and so I really want to do this. Cool. That's really shouldn't be regulated to, one sex or the other, because the opposite of that, or what usually what the other person is doing if they're not working is being a housemaker, to me is not very exciting. Now, would I like to be a homemaker? Sure. There are reasons. again, if my spouse or partner or whoever could make enough money so we could still travel and things like that, it's because I have tons of hobbies. Seriously, I've got tons and tons. In fact, hobbies would be a good topic for one of these. What are my hobbies? And I could probably show you pictures of them and stuff. But I have literally 10 hobbies, I think. Maybe even more. I have to go around the planet on this. That sucks. Let's try to do it like this. Okay. Kind of worked. Pretty much worked. I didn't have to fly through the planet or anything, or slow down too much. But I have tons of hobbies. I could easily fill up my time with hobbies. No problem. Would I get bored? Probably. I think I would only get bored if I don't have people to talk to or people to interact with, okay? It's not... That's the only thing I think people need that stay at home that they kind of can't get from just hobbies. But, and I think I read a paper on this too, is another reason why two-income family is more, is easier to do nowadays is because of all the extra machines we have, all the appliances we have in the household. It used to take a long time to wash clothes because you had to do it by hand. You had to have a washboard and you'd get the soap and you put the soap on the clothing, scrub it on the washboard. So, you know, scrub it on the washboard, scrub it on the washboard, I mean, it would take a long time and you'd have to do each piece of clothing by hand, right? But now you just throw all that crap in a washing machine. Washing machine does its job. Then it beeps. You throw it in the dryer, turn the dryer on. The dryer does its job, right? Then you just have to fold it and put it away. So it cuts out tons of the time it takes to actually do that. Same thing with like ironing was a big one too, because irons in the old days, you used to have to stick parts of it in the oven, man. And you'd pull that piece out of the oven and stick it in your iron, and then you'd iron for a while. The iron would get cold. You'd have to repeat that process. And they didn't have spray bottles, so I don't even know how they did, like, how would you get steam? But it was definitely not a really, really simple process, okay? Just wasn't. It took a lot of time. Cleaning took a lot of time. Everything took a lot of time. It was pretty much a full-time job to keep the house clean and, you know, keep the chickens, you know, meat in the fridge and cooking done and all those things. Because, again, you had to make stuff from scratch. You couldn't just go to the supermarket and buy dinner. You had to cook it. There was no supermarket. There was no fast food. You had to go buy your food. There was no, oh, dang, I, you know, forgot about tonight. Let's go eat pizza or something. Nope. There are no pizza places. Now what? Sorry, buddy. So, I think it's all, you know, I think that's the other part of it really is that it just became, really didn't take up a lot of time anymore to keep a house, you know? To do the cleaning and to do the cooking, and just it was much faster with all these improvements. Because of that, yeah, women got bored. Not just bored. I mean, they were probably already bored, but they just didn't need to be there all day long. What the hell were they doing? You know, well, if I'm not, like, if everything's clean, why am I just standing around? You know, I really want to use this time to do something else. I don't know. So, again, wow, that was pretty actually, wasn't it? Let's back it up some. We're going really fast. But and so I think that really covers why women want to work instead of stay at home. And I think it's kind of obvious one too. Now, why they want to wear pants? I think it's probably for the convenience factor and the fact that they want more equality with men. For a long time, men have pretty much ruled the roost in the world since caveman days because, well, men protected the family. And so to do that, men generally were kind of making the rules a little bit. They were very dominant in that regard, and women were kind of like, it was like, hey, do what I say because I'm keeping us safe. You know, if I tell you to get in the freaking cave, you better get in the freaking cave because somebody, you know, some lion's after us or whatever it is. And so I think that got so ingrained in our genetics that that's kind of just what we've always known, right? But women are like, well, that doesn't really, and since that doesn't really happen anymore, we don't really have to do that. I think it's just that reason for the inequality, in a sense, it just doesn't exist anymore. Oops, I keep doing that. But and the only thing I really think though is, and that's just about pants though. Again, we're kind of going back to work, in my opinion. But I like when women wear dresses. I don't understand. If I was a woman, I'd want to wear dresses. I would want to differentiate myself from men. I would want to be feminine because, in my opinion, and if you look again, this is just for men and women. I mean, obviously, if it's man versus two men, I don't know. I don't know how that dynamic works because I'm not homosexual. I'm heterosexual. So, but from a man-woman perspective, I'm very manly. I got chest hair and all that stuff. I've got a lower voice. I know it sounds high on the video, but it's definitely lower than a woman's. I'm naturally more muscular. I have a lot of male traits, right? And so I'm very attracted to women who have very female traits because I like the opposite. I don't want a guy. I'm already a guy. I'm not into that, So for me, that higher pitched voice, a softer voice, basically everything you can think of that's manly as far as physical and stuff like that, I'm cool with them not having that and them having more of the opposite.
Drive charging.
So dresses, long hair as opposed to short hair, all the pretty much stereotypical norms that I think really were because of it. Really, in my opinion, can trace it back to just us being cavemen. That goes right along with why I think paleo is the way to eat. Paleo eating means eating like men and women did in the Paleolithic age, which we didn't have grains, we didn't have farming and all this stuff. We basically ate roots, meat, eggs from chickens and crap that we found, and then other fruits and stuff you could pick, right? That was our diet. So I think our bodies, if you believe in evolution, that means our bodies have lived with that kind of a diet for thousands of years, probably like 50 or 100,000 years, and we're messing with it. Actually, probably longer if you look back into the chain. If you believe that men come from apes, then that kind of a diet goes even further back, but with maybe the exception of eating meat. I'm not really sure when that might have happened. That's more of a history question, but that kind of breeding, right? That kind of natural selection, kind of, this is all opinion. This is not fact. I don't have any facts back this up or any scientific articles or anything like that. This is really just up for good discussion. No, hopefully this is not getting anybody's feathers ruffled or anything. This is just my opinion. It's one person's opinion based on science, right? Based on the science of it and logic behind it. Is that over that many years and all that natural selection, our brain, the people that adhered to that kind of a social structure probably had an easier time surviving. And so their genes were spread while others were not. And survival of the fittest, right? So, but I really think part of that is bred into us. And I think that's why the majority of the people have the orientation they do with anything really is because of their ancestors and the fact that, certain people survived better. And I think a lot of that even goes back to social interaction. Like, if you were weird, they might not feed you. Maybe they're like, oh, this guy's weird. And they might not just say, oh, this guy's weird, which is bad enough. They might say, like, oh, the gods have cursed this man. He's so weird. This must be the devil. We need to get rid of him or he's going to corrupt everyone. So they kill the guy. Okay, well, obviously, if they kill him when he's a kid, that guy's not reproducing, okay? So a lot of it, I think the natural selection process also has to do with social status, right? And how you fit in socially, which means that's why there's a lot of conformists and not a lot of nonconformists, because traditionally speaking, I think nonconformists probably didn't have as great a survival rate. Now, it depends on how they use their nonconformity. Possibly some of them used that nonconformity to be great leaders, right? To have vision and think ahead and beyond, like other peers they knew could not. And so they became, leadership material because of that. They could lead the tribe or whatever out of harm's way or maybe into something awesome, some kind of bounty that other people didn't, the last chief didn't even recognize or whatever it is. But I think in general, the way to survive back then probably was to fit in, right? So I think that's why there's a natural tendency there for men to kind of act quote unquote manly and women to act quote unquote female or feminine, right? There's nothing wrong with that. Really, there's nothing wrong with any way you want to act. It's really just whatever you like, do it. That's kind of my opinion. Is you like it, do it. I like what I do what I like. You do what you like. I have no problems with that.
Scan detected.
Oh yeah, here we go. That always reminds me I need to do this. Okay.
Docking request granted.
So, okay, we're gonna flip over for this one. I'm turning up too soon. Let's wait till we're a bit more under the docking port here. Okay, let's flip over and like this. What port pad are we on? 34? This is going to be a tight turn here, I think. Let's get up a little bit. Whoa, 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 whoa! Dumbass. Wait, I'm gonna get blocking the entry. You're probably gonna shoot me. Come on, go! Oh, 34 right there. That's not cool. So, again, please don't shoot me. That's just my opinion. Doesn't mean it's true or anything. Again, do what you like, so it doesn't even matter if that's... Even if that's true, it doesn't matter, because it's still do what you like. Even if that is the way humans have been, you know, have come up and everything, and that might be the most scientific, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't matter, because you need to do what you like. What makes you happy. We only get one life, and nobody should be telling you how to live it except you. Again, if it doesn't interfere with anybody else's way they're doing things. I definitely don't believe in that. So, there's a few other things. Let me think. There's a few other things women like to do that are traditionally male things that men do. Well, actually, some of the things you can think about and ask yourselves why they don't want to do these things that are traditionally male. One of them is draft into a war, okay? So if you want equality, which again I'm for, I'm not saying I'm against it, I'm not against it, I'm for it. Don't you think to be equal you have to have all the negative stuff too? Like going, you know, being drafted and going to war and being in combat. And I think a lot of women, some women anyway, think being in combat's good, that women should be in combat. And a lot of other ones are like, nah, I'm good. I don't need to be in combat. I don't want to be drafted. You men go ahead and take care of that. I don't know if you should get the choice. I think if you want to be considered equal, which again I agree with, you should have to take all of it. And some of it's bad. Some of being a man is not good or not fun and not easy, and I would love to get rid of it. But I can't. Because it's
engines engaged.
Being a man. That's kind of what you do. It's like you don't get a choice. You don't get picked. Oh, wow, that's a huge ship. I'm going to wait till he comes through. Because I'll just crash right into that guy. That guy's giant. Alright, let's get past him. He's moving really, really slow. So, you know, another one is women asking men out, which never happens. Well, it does happen, but it's very, very rare. The burden is still on the man to kind of go chase the women, right? If you want to be more equal, then you guys should start chasing guys a little bit more, you know? Step in our shoes. That is not fun. I'm telling you right now, some guys I guess like to chase. I don't. It's very nerve-wracking. It's put myself out there for rejection. It gets me a lot better at being rejected. Like when I go for jobs now, when I get... Oh, I'm mask locked still? Okay, let's get out of here. Like when I go for job interviews and I don't get it, I don't collapse and crumble because I'm more used to rejection than a woman is. Again, this is all generalization. But if you just think about it mathematically, I should be more used to rejection than a woman because I am the one approaching women more often than women are approaching men, right? So, makes sense. But if you want it to be equal, you got to start approaching guys, which I know you guys aren't going to do,
4,
so
3,
it is what it is.
2,
What's another one?
Engage.
Again, if we're talking about equality, then guys have to have babies, which I'm cool with not having babies. But then again, I'm cool with it, with women and men being different. I want quality like in the workplace, yes. I think everybody, but I don't think you need to make pay equal for women. I think what you should do is make pay equal for everyone, because there's several times where I've been paid less than the guy sitting next to me. We do the same exact job. We have the same exact experience. I might even know more than the guy does, but he's getting paid more or he's a higher title just because he negotiated it, right? And I don't know how much he makes. He might have told me one day, and that's the only way I know. I've actually been in a lot of situations where I was working, my coworker was a woman, and she made a lot more than I did with way less experience, and a lot of it was because she was a woman. They had like a quota. They hired her because she was a woman. They didn't say that, and again, that's maybe it's really just a guess, but I don't know why they were paying her more and she knew less, and maybe she negotiated and I didn't. That's what I really they need to do. If they want to make equal pay, then they need to make it so where companies have to post what everybody makes. They have to post what the guy makes or person, and then they need to put how much years experience the person has next to it, or some kind of qualifier, or just put how much the person makes and make everybody make the same amount. I don't care. That's fine too. That actually kind of hurts me because I have a lot of years experience in my job, so my pay might actually go down. But I think it's the fair thing to do. Everybody should know what the other person's making. Why is it fair that two guys do the same job and one guy gets paid less than the other guy, or a woman gets paid more than a man doing the same job? I don't think that's a gender issue. I think it's a people issue. I think it's not fair to do to anybody. And there are really other things like that I agree with. It really aren't, like, a lot of racial stuff to me is more economical, right? Socioeconomic is that a lot of the problems of certain ethnic groups are, I think, mainly caused just because they're poor, so how can we get poor people in general, not specifying anybody in particular, how can we get poor people, give them more opportunity? Notice I didn't pick out any special group. All poor people pretty much have the same problem, okay? They all have, it's harder for them to get into school because they don't have money. Their parents can't just buy a wing on a school and they get in. We'll just buy a new library, get our son in school, right? Yeah, we'll do that. They don't get as many opportunities to go to any kind of school they want. If the school they want to go to is in New York City and they're from LA, well, the family has to pay for a lot of the travel and different things like that, and a lot of families cannot afford that. So it's because they're poor. It's not because, it's not, in my opinion, again, this is all my opinion and my experience, it's not the group they're from, it's because they're poor. They have disadvantage because they're poor. And that's really, I hate to see that. I think we should get rid of that. We should get rid of the wealth gap that is so huge, and mainly in the United States, but in every country. There's too much of a wealth gap. I think in the 50s, the wealth gap of the upper 1% was like, I want to say that the average pay was like 2.5 times higher or something like that. The wealth gap was 2.5 to 1 or some crap like that. And now it's like over 10. I think it's like 50 or 100 or some crap like that. Wait a minute. Wasn't that pad 1? Oh, that must have been some other pad, someone else's pad. Oop, that's not right. Nope, we want that. We want this. Okay, that's taking too long. 3? There must be other people docking here, like someone was saying. There's 1 and 3. Where the hell's 2? Oh, is it? Oh, it's on the other... Wait a minute. Oh, it's right here. There it is. So, I really think a lot of the problems, I don't think they're sexist, and I don't think they're racist or other groups like that. I really just think the problem is people. Like, we don't treat people good. People are too selfish, and they want it all. And they don't want to, they want it at other people's expense. They don't want to have to pay for it. They want you to work to make them tons of cash. They don't want to do the work. No, I want you to go out there and make me some sprockets or whatever, and I'm going to reap all the benefit of that. I'm going to make all this profit, and I'll give you, like, 5% of it or something like that. But I'm going to take all the extra, whatever it is. Which, it's not like that. I mean, the wages usually person making, or pad loitering. Wait, you going to... Hello? You gonna let me land or something?
Hull integrity compromised.
Alright, we gotta get out of here. I've never had this happen before. Oh, now it's... What? You changed my landing pad? Alright. So anyway, that's my talk. It's kind of controversial. Again, if I made anybody upset, that was not my intention. My intention is to have a nice topic of discussion on something I really think is very important to talk about, because I really think that the issues that we find are problems are not as tied to gender and race as we think they are. I really think that they can be more generalized to just everybody, or poor people, or some other some economic thing rather than race. I think it was a problem in the past. I just don't think it's really much of a problem anymore. Again, I live in California. We're very liberal here. There's not a lot of that going on here anymore as far as I can see. So, you know, your mileage may vary, but mine, I've lived in California almost my whole life and never really seen these issues they talk about. But also, I really like when... I really like feminine women, and would love to see more of the wearing of dresses and things like that. Just the physical look of a woman and the soft voice and all those things. I really like those things. So, again, comments in the comment section would be great on this topic. Let me know what you think. Please don't bash me or anything. This is definitely just an opinion piece. It doesn't have anything to do with, you know, I'm not trying to push what I think on other people. It's really, I just want to debate. I just like to talk about stuff like that. I think it's interesting. So again, thanks for watching Space Truckers. Put some ideas for topics in the comment section. And as always, guys, stay frosty.